Around the Villages YouTube channel. Today is Tuesday, February 18th, 2025, and it is 1 p.m. and so this is the brand new live stream that we're starting today, and this is called Topic Tuesday. All right, so we are going to go ahead and do this live stream, and the reason I'm doing this live stream this way, first of all, I can see, we're doing it through a chat, okay, and eventually I'd like to get to the point where we can do telephone calls, so we're going to work on that. For this, so people can call in and ask questions, but you could also ask questions through the chat as well. So I've got Racer Girl, Renee, thanks for joining us today in our very first
Topic Tuesday.
Topic Tuesday, on our very first show. And Gary, thanks for popping in, so I appreciate it. So I'm going to go ahead and just explain everything now because this will turn into a video on my YouTube channel. And so that's why I'm going to explain everything up front, what's kind of going on. So Renee and Gary are on. They're regulars on our Monday Night Live. So thanks, guys, for popping in on our 1 p.m. Topic Tuesday. I really appreciate it. And so I thought to myself, look, I need to start doing some refresher videos, some videos that I've done years and years and years ago. I just did a brand new Maps of the Villages video, which I had done probably, 5 or 6 years ago? So we wanted to refresh that because of how big the Villages has grown. Now bonds. Bonds are a big question that people always ask about, and I want to dive deep into what bonds are all about here in the Villages. And so I thought, why go ahead and do a video when we can do an interactive live stream and turn that into a video? So I really thought that that would really be pretty cool to have people come on in and ask questions that I can answer, and then you all can follow along. And if there's something that I might have missed or I might have jumped too fast to or whatever that you have a question about, this is a great opportunity, because if that happened to you, it might be happening with other people. So I want to welcome Create Sunshine. Thank you very much for joining us today. And Adam Wheeler as well. So Adam, thanks for coming on back. Appreciate it. So Topic Tuesday, I think, is going to be really cool. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this without too much further ado. But I did want to explain why I'm doing this as a live stream and as an interactive segment rather than just throwing a video out there. So I think it's really going to work out pretty cool. All right, so today's topic, bonds in the Villages. Why are there bonds, and what's the deal? What's the history behind bonds? And who else has bonds? So in this area where we are, in Central Florida, there's only one other community that I know of that, that has bonds on their homes, and that's Arlington Ridge. So Arlington Ridge is on State Road 27. It's right near the plantation of Leesburg and Legacy. there's a lot of communities on that 27 corridor going into Claremont. But Arlington Ridge is pretty much built out, so anybody that goes in there, if any of you are thinking about Arlington Ridge and wondering what that's all about, I did do a video way back when. I think it was around the pandemic times. So you might want to search for that on my YouTube channel. And actually, I want to take a moment. So bear with me. We are going to, I want to show you something. So let's see here. Let me kind of come back to you a little bit. All right, here I am. Now, so we want to go to my YouTube channel. And I want to actually show you how to search on my YouTube channel. So up here, this is not where you search on my YouTube channel. Actually, I have to do this because I have an account with Google that kind of puts me in this position. So here is not, I repeat, not where you search for my videos. This searches YouTube, okay? Right down here, you see this little magnifying glass, an aha moment. These are my videos, playlists, podcasts. Here is where you can search. And if I go Arlington, let's see if that brings up anything. So I'm gonna say Arlington, hit enter, and let's see. This is in the Plantation, and why would, I thought for sure, my thoughts on the top communities, Arlington might have made it into that. Tour of the Plantation. Let me put Arlington Ridge in there. Arlington. See if that makes a difference, and hit enter. I guess you could hit the magnifying glass too. Anyways, I don't see Pembroke Pines. I don't see where Arlington Ridge. I know I've done a video for Arlington Ridge, and I just don't know why it's not popping up in our search. But that is how you search for homes here on my Homes Around the Villages YouTube channel. Let's see. So requested personal tour for a subscriber. So maybe this. And we'll see what you think. I've already been inside quickly, talked to the homeowners. They're very nice, and the home looks but you see,
really
I do
nice
do a lot
inside.
of personal tours for people. But anyways, my thoughts on the top.
Are you tired of losing deals?
Florida.
Today I'm going to show you
maybe I'll have
5 what are called
Christian check
NEPQ.
it
That
out.
stands
This
for
is
Neuro
World of
Emotional
Golf.
Persuasion
Wow.
Probing questions. So here we go. All right. When the
Interesting.
prospect tells you
All right.
a problem,
I
you're
don't want to
immediately
get
ask them,
too
okay, and
tied up into
how
the
long has that
weeds
been
with
going
all
on for?
this,
What
but I
type of
just
tone
did
did I
want
just
to
use
take an
there? It's more of a
opportunity
curious tone. Your tone is how
to
your
show you
prospect
really
interprets
how to
why you're
search
asking
for
every question or anything you
videos,
say. Your tone is how they interpret the meaning behind each question. Then they tell you. Let's say they said for
on my
6 months.
YouTube
Okay,
channel.
so that's been going
And
on for
not
6
up
months.
here.
Has that had
So
an
that's one
impact
thing
on you?
I
What tone
made
was that?
the same
A
mistake.
concern?
That's why I wanted to point that out to everybody. Okay, but yeah, this is where you search down here for anything on my videos. All right, so let me go back to where you guys are in my chat. and say thank you. All right, Tammy, thanks for joining us. So let's go ahead and dive in. We're gonna get started. So here's what you want to do. First of all, what are bonds? Okay, bonds. Actually, I should have. The Florida statutes. Bonds were created in the Florida statutes. So, wait a minute, I got too many D's in there. Okay. Florida bonds, let me put community bonds. Okay, so higher education facility bond, entire chapter, criminal understanding. Let me just see here real quick. Florida municipal bonds. Here we go, actually. Community development district bonds. Here we go. Okay. Wanted to get the actual Florida statutes because that's where the bonds are. They've been approved under the Florida statutes. Community Development District bonds, State of Florida statutes. Okay. Here we go. Excellent, excellent. Chapter 190. This is the Florida Senate. These are the 2018 Florida statutes. So I guess this is the Florida statutes. 2018 is probably the latest and the greatest, I would imagine. So right up here, the entire chapter, community development districts, that's what all this is all about. And trust agreements, let's see here. Bonds, here we are, right here. 190.016, all right? Bonds, sale of bonds. Bonds may be sold back in blocks or installments at different times, okay. The authorization in form of bonds. So if anybody really is out there and wants to get really technical about where bonds came from and what they're all about, this is where you'll find it. You'll find it in the Florida statutes. Who was the actual entity or person who came up with this? Was Walt Disney. So Walt Disney started thinking, when he was developing Walt Disney World, that he was going to create this monstrosity, and an HOA just wasn't going to get it, a homeowners association. So he kind of brainstormed with a lot of the senators at the time in Florida, and they came up with the Community Development District, or the CDD. So this is where the CDD comes from. Now, under the Florida statutes. So sale of bonds. Bonds may be sold. So check this out. So here's so I'm going to just kind of paraphrase what they have going on here with bonds. Bonds are implemented to, so since this is under the Florida statutes, the Community Development District is actually let me just read here real quick. The Community Development District is actually a state government, okay? So you have cities, and you have city governments, and you have the state of Florida, but now you have the community development district is actually a state government. So what happens is a developer wants to develop a community. He wants to enact the community development district statute. And here it is under planning and development. This is all of this is really how the community development district came about. So I probably should have started this off, and I'll probably even retitle it, the Community Development District and Bonds, okay? Just to be covering the whole subject matter. So, bonds are created through the Community Development District. The Community Development District was created through the Florida statutes. And so what do? So bonds are now called special assessments, okay? And so bonds, what they do is they allow the community development district that has now been established in any given community, and that the CDD, we'll call it for short, Community Development District, can borrow money from the state of Florida to do all this developing, okay? And so bonds are used to develop a community. Now, normally a developer takes money out of his own pocket or from investors, and then they go ahead and they put all the streets, the curbs, the street lights, the storm drains, all the underground plumbing and utilities and everything that goes to creating a community. And then what they do is the community development district will come in and develop a certain area. Now, bonds, okay, so districts are made up of around 1,000 acres of any given community, right? So you might have District 1, District 2, District 3. They're anywhere from like, I don't know, 800 to 1,000 acres. I think there might be something in here that says it's limited to 1,000 acres in here. But let's see, anyways. So the Community Development District, and we're going to use the villages. So the Villages Community Development District comes in and builds District 1, 2, 3, whatever. I think they're up to District 12, I believe. And we're going to see that in just a second. All right, so this CDD goes and puts all the infrastructure in, everything that I just named. And now they say, okay, well, we spent, I don't know, probably $10 million in developing District 1, and now we got 5,000 home sites out of that. We're going to go ahead and divide whatever it is, okay? Whatever it is, they're going to divide the amount by the amount of home sites in there, and then they're going to assess every one of those home sites that exact amount that it costs to develop that area. So here's where it gets a little sticky, because I'll show you right here. It says bonds may be sold in blocks or installments at different times, or an entire issue or series may be sold at one time. So what happens here in the villages, the developer, he will buy up all the bonds that the Community Development District has assessed to every single home in the villages. Well, so you kind of might ask, well, why would he do that? Why would he go ahead and have a CDD come in, do all the infrastructure and pay for the infrastructure, And then he's going to buy up all the bonds. Well, does that kind of really make a lot of sense? It actually does, for a couple of reasons. So one of the obvious reasons is bonds have interest to them. So these blocks of bonds that they buy and they hold, they're getting money. They're getting interest on all of those bonds that they've purchased. And so we're going to see that as well. So let's go ahead and move on, and we're going to go ahead and say, okay, well, Christian pulled this up for us, but I'll just do it right from, here we are. So districtgov.org, right up here. You see this at the top, districtgov.org. You type districtgov.org in, and this is what comes up. This is their home page. You have districts, services, recreation, parks and golf. How do I? How do I get around? Popular applications, okay? What's happening? Contact us. The Villages Community Development District is supposed to be a nonprofit entity that that does all the maintenance and development of the villages. So let's dive into districts. So anybody out there who has a home in the villages, you'll go and click on districts at districtgov.org. And then it tells you what is a community development district. It's going to tell you special purpose government. Well, I just gave you, all the statutes of what the technical aspect of it is. They're going to kind of paraphrase. So they put in like I said, street lights, storm drains. They put all the infrastructure, right? Infrastructure into any given neighborhood. And then assess bonds. There we are, chapter 190. So actually I could have gone just right here, and we could have gone right to the legislative authority of who controls the community development districts, how it came about, and everything you need to know about bonds. So there you go. That's an easy way rather than having to search around like I just did. All right, looking for your district, so you might want to find your district, okay? So what they'll do is you click here and you'll put the street in that you're in. And there's some quick links as well. There's some district maps, so if you're wondering, what districts are where in the villages, just might want to go ahead and click on a map here, okay? We'll do that. District maps. So all the districts, residential districts, commercial districts, family districts. Okay, let me tell you a little bit more about the community development district. There are, since we came across commercial districts, you have the VCDD, the Villages Community Development District, the VCDD, right? That handles all the residential districts in the villages. You have the VCCDD, the Villages Commercial Community Districts. And then what that is Spanish Springs, Sumter Landing, Brownwood. Those are the commercial districts that, let's just click on Village Center. So there's Spanish Springs right there. There's the Spanish Springs Square. They don't go into the Villages Center commercial. So the VCCDD, right? Why are they separated? They're separated because every commercial vendor, store owner, shop owner, or whatever pays an amenity fee just like everybody else in the villages. Just like all the residents pay an amenity fee for all the recreation, That's all under the community development district. The commercial people pay one as well. Why do they pay one? Well, they pay one that pays for all the bands that play every single night, 365 days a year in these squares, pays for the cleanliness, the maintenance, the upkeep of the streets, the curbs, the sidewalks. That's why you see how clean and pristine that these town squares look, simply because every one of those shop owners is paying for an amenity fee. Keep losing my cursor here. All right, so that's that. Residential districts. Here's all the districts. You have districts in Marion County. District 5 is Marion County, okay? So, like I said, the villages are in 3 counties, Lake, Sumter, and Marion. District 5 is Marion County. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not District 5. Is it District 4? District 4, I apologize. District 4 is Marion County. There's your Marion County and Sumter County line. Right over here, that you can see where my cursor is. So District 4 is Marion County. Anyways, let's see. So, if you don't know what district you're in, you can go over here and you can find my district, okay? Now, if you want to find your district, it's going to tell you, just put your street, your address in here, and it'll tell you 1897. That's one of my listings. Where are we? Try it again. That is in District 5, Curio Lane. All right, come on, come back to me. There we are. District 5, okay? In the village of Winterford, it actually tells you exactly what village you're in. Okay, so public records request in this district. All right, district clerk, public records. This is where we're going to find Hold on. All right, let me go back on here. All right, let's see. So under districts, we're going to look under financial, okay? So under financial, let's see, under, where do we go? Residential districts. Residential districts. All right, so we're locating our district 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going all the way to 15, I think it is. Yep, here it is, District 15. Let's go ahead and look at District 15. That District 15 is the brand new area of the villages. Now, it tells you how many acres it is, so 1,378. I told you that each district is 1,000 acres. So I guess I lied. But maybe it's 1,000 acres of residential. This could be a total, because there's a lot of wetlands, and there's a lot of areas that aren't developed. Now, what you want to look for here is, like I said, financial, and here we are, bond assessment and amortization. So, this is the latest and the greatest of where they're building right now, okay? So we want to learn more. If I can get this cursor to act right. Okay. All right, so learn more. Bond amortization schedules. All right, so view example ID. Let's go to Sumter County. We're going to go back to 15 where we were. All right, so you have all these different residential units. You have units, and you have your verandas, you have your villas. So let's check out Moultrie Creek verandas here. All right, so here's what I want to explain to you. First of all, your interest rate on your bonds, if you lived in this Moultrie Creek veranda west, I think it was, you would be paying 5.19%. Okay, Moultrie Creek veranda south, unit 225. You would be paying 5.19% interest. And again, who are you paying that interest to? The entity that owns these bonds. So I know that the Village's developer has been known to buy up these bonds. So this neighborhood was started in 2023. Now, the villages who are building houses on the property, on the lots, on the land, they don't want to have to pay any of this bond, okay? So they already own, more than likely, the bond itself. And so it used to be, years ago, now if I go to an older one of these, it's not going to take you back to when that neighborhood started. And I'm going to show you that as well. So what have they done? There's no principal, no interest, no administrative fees, nothing is paid towards this bond for the first year while they're in there building these houses. So what they want to do is they want to build out as soon as possible and get those homes sold and that bond transferred to the new owner. So this is their way of not having to pay any of the bond. Now, when they first started this, or when I first started working for the villages, they were paying for that bond. So they've come up with this little strategy here. So now, fast forward to 2024. So they started building out that neighborhood in 2023, developed that bond in 2023, building out as many homes as they can. 2024 comes along. Now, if they just happen to not have sold those homes by 2024, then they're not going to pay anything to themselves on the principal, assuming they own this bond. But they'll pay $1,211 to the interest. Well, they're just taking it out of this pocket and putting it in this pocket is basically all they're doing, if that's the case. But they're not paying it down. They're not going to pay that bond down at all for the new owner, right? So that's why you say principal is zero. 2025, we're in 2025 now. assuming that they've sold now, it's 2 years since they started developing this neighborhood, they're gonna have already sold all the homes in this unit. So now, the new owner is gonna start paying, right here, $3,379.95 towards this bond every year on your taxes. How does that break down? Well, it breaks down like this. $750 of it is in principal. $2,406 is in interest. They have now come up with an administrative fee, which they didn't used to have, of $223.08. What's an administrative fee for? It's just to move that money along. And if you times $223 by all these thousands of home sites, it's a lot of money. So that's what you come up with. Now, this is a 30-year bond, okay? So Community Development District for Series 2023 Special Assessment Revenue Bonds. And so again, if we look up here, it talks about revenue bonds and everything else about that, okay? So 30 years would be what, 2053. Yeah, 30 years would be 2053 by the time, but they didn't pay anything in 2023. So now it's been moved to 2054. And so what happens over the 30 years of this bond, a $48,403 bond and 69 cents actually cost $102,677.52. $6,776 over the 30 years went to administrative fees. $47,000 went to interest. So this is why would you not, if you're the developer, not enact a community development district, have them pull all the money out of their pocket, assign, a portion of that bond to each one of the home sites, buy that bond, and now get paid interest for that. It's a no-brainer. All right, so here's the principal that was paid, $48,403. There it started. There's where you end up. But you have all these other fees that you're paying for. So now that's why a lot of people will pay off these bonds, or a lot of people don't want a bond. They want to find a home where somebody has already paid it off, because whoever paid it off may or may not know what the end result is. So how do they pay these, okay? Well, first of all, let's break it down a little bit further. So total principal, $155 million. This is what it cost to for each home site. So if you were to times 48,403 by how many home sites are in this district, which we saw back here. Okay, let's see, where is it? Okay, so I would, if I had my calculator, I'd time $3,616 times the 48,000. You're probably going to come up with $155 million is what it cost to pay for all the infrastructure in District 15. Then, out of the 3,600 home sites over here, you times it by that, there's $152 million in interest for those 3,600 homes that the Villages developer developed. So 3,600 homes, they made $152 million on top of what they already made in profit by somebody buying that home. So it's a cash cow going on here. And so it's kind of shocking, I would think. You know, there's a lot going on here with this developer, and to me it's genius, right? It's genius to be able to get an extra $152 million over 30 years in interest out of building 3,600 homes. I mean, man, if they didn't make one penny off that home when they sold it, they're still making all this in interest just off the bond itself. It's pretty crazy. If everybody paid their bonds off, there wouldn't be any interest to the developer or whoever purchased these bonds. So they don't want everybody to pay the bond off. This is why we're doing this, this little video right here, okay? So this, to me, this is just extremely interesting. So this is what's happening today. Let's go back over, let me go back here. We're gonna click out of that. Let me see, is there anything else on here? This is only, look, they made $152 million in interest alone by developing 9.15 acres. Is that right? Number of acres platted. No, I'm sorry, net total assessed acres. 638. So, lots platted. Total assessment per lot is the 102 after it's all said and done, right? Pretty interesting. So net total assessed acres. So rather than over here where it says 1,378 total acres, like I said, probably much less than that was developed as a residential area, and we see now it was 638. We'll round it up to 639 total acres that were developed and made $152 million. Pretty cool. All right, let's leave here, go to here. Here's your Board of Supervisors. And your bonds. So learn more about bonds. Oh, let's go back for a second. What did I just read on this? This said, the cutoff date to pay your bond assessment balance and eliminate it from your 2025 tax bill is July 18th. So anybody has a chance to pay their bond off. As long as they pay it off by July 18th, you won't see it on your tax bill, because here in Florida, we pay taxes in arrears. So you go ahead and pay your bond off before July 18th of this year, because this is how you pay your taxes. You pay it on your tax bill every year, okay? Not only do you pay your bond assessments, you pay also a maintenance fee. What's a maintenance fee? A maintenance fee is the Community Development District maintenance fee to maintain the common areas of the villages. So the entrances to each and every community, like the village of Hadley, the village of Springdale, whatever, you see how pretty those are all maintained, and annuals or semi-annuals switched in and out. That's all paid for by your maintenance fee, and we'll dive into that on a home in just a second. Actually, let's do that right now. I'm sure you're probably wondering, if I go to search in my MLS, let's see, 634 homes. We had our video, or we had our live stream last night. There were 635, so there's one less. Let's go to 2024 to 2025. Do we have any matches? No, there's none on the resale market. How about 2023? Are there any 2023? There's 21 homes. Well, that's what we've been working in a 2023 anyway. So let's kind of go, let's see. We're going to kind of go to, I would say, an average home. I don't know. Let's do this one, Newell Loop. All right. $500,000 for this home. It's called a Hummingbird. This is actually, when you see a tax ID this long, this is actually in Lake County. Down here, Lake County. Let's check out a Lake County tax bill, okay? This Real List is a realtor's program that we have that we can go into, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to go right to the tax assessor's office, and we'll do that by going down here to the county treasurer. Oops. What happened? All right, let's see. Well, let's do it this way then. Let's just click on, see if this will take us there where we want to go. Oh, there we go. So this is actually your property appraisers, and you can go to your tax bill right here. So let's look at this person's tax bill who's on the market. It's a $500,000 home. Let's see what they're paying for a $500,000 home. All right. So in 2023, remember I told you over here, that they weren't paying the bond. Okay, all right, so look. So this is what happened. Their tax bill almost doubled. That's another reason why they kind of didn't want the homeowner to see what your taxes were really going to be. So if the homeowner said, "Oh, what's the tax bill going to be for this home?" So here's what your taxes look like. Non ad valorem, the debt. They actually do have the debt in here. $3,258. Here is your maintenance fee of $589. I'm going to be interested in wondering, so your total non-ad valorem assessment is, so they do have the bond in here, they do have the maintenance here. Look how low this is, $1,000. So that's, I'm so glad we came across that. And this wasn't a video for taxes, that's going to be at another time, but I'm going to shoot it in there real quick. $1,000 in taxes, that's because you're only paying taxes on the lot, not the house, just the lot, and they assessed this lot at $65,000 for the first year. After the first year, at that time, you are going to pay now the full amount of taxes. So let's go to the 2024 bill. So now your 24 bill is $9,173.03. Over double. This is with homestead exemption too. They've declared their homestead exemption. But now, all your taxes are on here. You're also paying a tax to the city of Leesburg. So not only are you paying county taxes, you're paying city taxes. And I don't want to get too far off in the weeds with that because, again, that is another video for another day. But it went from $1,000 to the second year of ownership to $5,000. And then look what happened to your maintenance fee. Your maintenance fee was $589, shot up to $708. That's about average. Now, $708 a year, this is a year, it's a lot less in the more established areas because in these newer areas, they require a lot more water, a lot more fertilizer, a lot more maintenance and care. So in these newer areas, you're going to pay more for the maintenance in these new or newer areas, okay? So, but there's where your bonds kick in, and that's what I wanted to kind of show you there. All right. Let's go on back to District 15. All right, so now we're back in District 15. We want to learn more about bonds and amortization schedules. That's what this video is all about. So, again, view an example ID. What's that? Oh, just a resident ID. So again, we're going to go back to Sumter County. And actually, now that I think about it, we went to Sumter County and all the way down to District 15, and we realized, well, actually that home that we picked out, was in Lake County. So we're going to go back to District 15 for a second. Let's see what villas, all right? Let's see what a courtyard villa would be. I don't know. Let's try Amanda Villas. Now, I don't know if this is a if this is a patio villa or is it a courtyard villa. Isabella Villas. All right, so this must be for a patio villa, 27,000. This is a courtyard villa, so there's going to be differences. $35,000 bond for a courtyard villa. And I wanted to show you too. Here's now Moultrie Creek Verandas North went up from 48,000 to $51,588, or $3,600 a year is what they're estimating you're going to pay, and a total of 109,000 if you live there for 30 years. Now look, I've been selling homes in the villages for 25 years now. I still have people I originally sold homes to. Their bond was started out so low 25 years ago. Let's do that. Let's go to, I don't know, District 5, 6, 7. Let's go to District 8. And we'll just pick, I don't know, a random unit number, 158. So this is 2020, okay? You can see where they zeroed things out. The second year, they have principal and interest. But see, they got smart. They got smarter as they moved over to the newer area, and rather just having the first year that they didn't pay for, they were paying for the second year. Here, they went ahead and manipulated the bond structure. And even back here in 2020, it was only 3.73 or $1,393 for your bond back in 2020. Much less than the 3,600. It's almost triple. You almost paid triple today. So what started out as 16, well, let's say 17,000 if you paid it over the 30 years. So let me look at this for a second. So this was only 19 years. Why is this only 19 years? Because this is zeroed out. Unit 158. So homes in unit. Let's look. We're going to look. Okay, so we're going to go back to my quick. I'm going to go back to, let's say, 2016. Let's see what a 2016 home. And here's how you tell, by the way. You go and look at the legal description. And your legal description's up here. Unit number 29. This is in Fruitland Park. This is actually in Lake County, too. I seem to really pick them with these Lake County properties. This one was built in 2016. Fruitland Park, wow. All right, well, they were building in Fruitland Park. Let's change this up a little bit more. Let's go back we'll go 2014. How's that? Just want to compare apples and apples. Unit number 219, but this is a premier home. Let's go back and look at this one here on Vale. This is, well, that's a villa. So we'll go back again. That's a home. Unit number 182. And what were we looking at? 158, I think. Unit number, that's 239. 158, yeah. So this actually goes back a lot further than 14. So they went ahead and they eliminated a lot of this amortization schedule because this home actually probably is like a 2012 maybe, I would say, and they started at 2020 when we go try to look at really what's going on here. So there is your lesson here about how to find the bonds, what the bonds are all about. We're going to do another video on taxes. We're going to do a video about where the villages are going. And let me just leave you with this. You're probably wondering, how does it go from 17,000 in 2014, let's say, as an example? 10 years later, it's at 51,000. Well, my guess is what they're having to do with the infrastructure, because now, while the CDD, the bond pays for the neighborhood, it doesn't pay for all these streets and curbs and all this stuff. Something else has to pay for that. So down here, this is where the villages are developing, right in this area here. But I want to talk to you a little bit, just to touch, I'm just going to leave you on this note. You see these dark areas? These dark areas are wetlands and flood zones. And so you want to kind of watch yourself and watch where they're developing into these areas, because if they're backfilling these wetlands and soft areas, that means they're spending a lot of money on infrastructure. So who has to pay that infrastructure is you, the buyer. So yeah, when you see a lot of this thick, dark green, this is what Lake Harris, Lake Denham, this is where the village has really been developing all around, excuse me, these lakes. This is all village stuff, okay? So anyways, that's what I'm gonna leave you on. We spent an hour on bonds. I hope I didn't bore you to death on this. It's definitely an in-depth conversation. So let's see. Between bond, okay, so David says he's getting priced out. Well, David, you might not want to be so much considering then the newer area as to maybe a more existing area where I showed you the bonds are 14, 16. The closer you get to Lake Sumter Landing, they're down around 8,000 and 9,000 for the bond. So that's why I wanted to do this video and this interactive session, because I wanted everybody to know exactly what bonds are all about, where they came from, how they came about, why they're in existence. And when I worked for the villages back in 2000 to 2009, Since the Villages was basically the only community that had bonds, we as salespeople begged management, please relay to the developer, get rid of those bonds. Those are horrible. We're trying to sell homes here, and when people find out about the bonds and it's so much more. There's one other reason why there's bonds, not just because they're making so much money on the interest. It's simply because if you join us on Monday Night Live, a lot of people will comment, well, hey, I can buy a home cheaper in this community or that community. And it is the Village's attempt. If they didn't have a bond, every single one of their newer or new homes would be $50,000 more than what they are today. And they're already more expensive than any other community. So, but like I said, to get around that, you can look for an older home. You can look for a home with the bond paid off. But, look, last night we had a little bit of a discussion towards the end of our live stream about me talking about other communities, like on top of the world, like Del Webb, Stone Creek. They don't have bonds, okay? The prices of their homes are lower. But they're not the Villages. So people come to the Villages for all the entertainment. They come to the Villages for all the activities. They come to the Villages to drive their golf cart anywhere they want to go. Although the Villages is starting to get so big, a lot of people aren't taking golf carts anymore. New people will. New people, but after about a year, Jace Gallagher, he loves his golf cart. He drives that golf cart everywhere. But after a while, okay, been there, done that. It's too hot out. It's too cold out. Whatever. Anyways, I don't want to get off on a tangent somewhere. The Villages, the point I'm trying to get across, the Villages isn't for everybody, but the Villages is for a lot of people. So I need to be unbiased and try to give information, truthful, honest information about what the Villages is all about and what these other communities are all about, so you, as the buying public, can make a decision on which way you want to go, Nothing wrong with On Top of the World. Nothing wrong with Del Webb. They're smaller in size. They're up in Ocala. So there's a lot of factors. So whenever I meet somebody for the first time, we'll talk for about an hour and a half when you come to see me, because I want to figure out, is the Villages for you, or is one of these other communities for you? That's why I like to spend the time with you up front. But this is also why I want to make these videos. So when you do come to see me, you've already seen all this information, so you can make an intelligent decision as to which way you want to go and what's for you. The Villages for you with all this information, all this knowledge known, or is it not? And we can go from there. I'm willing to help you any way you want to go. Whether you want to buy a home in the Villages, whether you want to buy a home in one of those other communities, I'm here for you. And I'm even here for you if you want to buy a brand new home from the Villages, or even one of the Villages pre-owned homes. You're not represented properly with a buyer's agent over at the Villages. They're all seller's agents, and once they get a contract, let's say on a pre-owned home, they transition into a transaction broker. So at no point are they ever a buyer's agent. And I've heard horror stories and nightmares So I've offered my services to anybody out there who wants representation with Villages properties. I'll be happy to represent you at only 0.5% of the total price of the home. So you can get all this expertise, my contractor's experience, my home inspector experience. Okay? All right, that's it. Gary Winkle says it's very, very appealing to him, so he loves it. So Peter, thank you for joining. Billiards girl, it's not fair. Not enough pool tables south of 44. Well, bond is too high down there. It's very high. Missy Mo, thank you so much for jumping in. I appreciate it. If you missed anything, we're going to be posting this right to our YouTube channel. So, and again, Gary, thanks for throwing in on top of the world. Otto is on top of the world for anybody who may not know that. And so, David, if bond insurance amenity fees kind of getting you priced out, we might want to look elsewhere for you. But let's spend some time together, see what's right for you. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you hopefully next week on Topic Tuesday. Go to my website, click on the calendar, see what's coming up. Christian, do you know what's coming up next week?
Next week, let me go do it real quick. Where have it? Just on the calendar. BBAs, buy broker.
Buyer broker agreements are next week. Anybody who's looking to buy a home through the MLS, through Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, any of those online websites, if you're going to work with a realtor or a broker like myself, you'll be facing what's called a buyer broker agreement. We'll have to talk to you a little bit about what they are, why they are, and so you're not caught off guard. Okay? All right, y'all. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us on our very first Topic Tuesday video. I really do appreciate it. Gary, Missy Mo, Billiards Girl, Peter, David. Also, Tammy, thank you for joining us. Renee, Adam Wheeler, Create Sunshine. I appreciate you all. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully we'll see you next week. And hey, any of you that are new today, join us Monday night as well, 6 o'clock. Open